Welcome back to the Development Book Club. Today we will conclude No Such Thing as a Bad Kid, looking at chapters 18 and 19, the final two which I was looking forward to, which are relationship-based limit setting and the role of incentives. He begins with a quote on relationship-based limit setting from the book No Drama Disciplines. Our children need repeated experience that allow them to develop wiring in their brain that help delay gratification, contain their urges to react aggressively towards others, and flexibly deal with not getting their way. The absence of limits and boundaries is actually quite stressful, and stressed kids are more reactive. So, when we say no and set limits for our children, we help them discover predictability and safety in an otherwise chaotic world, and we build brain connections that allow kids to handle difficulties well in the future. Appleseed continues that with the sanctity of the relationship in the forefront, all of the following techniques have been created to maintain relationships with individual kids or groups. So there's like 5 steps here. There's support interventions, which are more verbal, logical consequences, physical management, processing, and reintegration. This is always remember to keep focused on the goal of limit setting, maintaining the sanctity of the relationship, reinforcing core values such as safety and respect. Talks about the first step there is supportive interventions. These empower kids to take control of their actions. So when establishing core rules, driving metaphors can explain the nuts and bolts well. So metaphors about driving. Because if I'm driving down the highway and the speed limit is 65, I can probably not get pulled over if I'm driving 72. However, once I choose to go over the posted speed limit, which 72 is, I give up control of what happens to me. A police officer can pull me over. I give up that control if I break the rule. Additionally, strengths-based means that we are focusing on what the kids are doing right, not wrong. Angelica, I love it when you raise your hand to contribute. Isaac, when you get your room done quickly, you end up with a lot more free time. Instead of pointing out the negative and stress behaviors, child guiders can highlight when another peer does the desired behavior and verbally praise them instead. Step 2, logical consequences. Be prepared to follow through with any consequences set. Counteract resistance, expect them not to accept the feedback. Always factor in severity and frequency of the problem behavior. So how big of a deal is it and how repetitive has this been? Avoid going overly severe consequences or giving overly severe consequences. The other steps there are physical management, processing, and reintegration. So physical management involves being trained for specific safe techniques. Processing is the verbal process. There's a cool metaphor or acronym I escape is to isolate the conversation about what happened. This is in case of like large unsafe behaviors. Isolate the conversation with them, explore their perspective, summarize what you heard them say, connect their emotion to their behavior that was a problem, look for alternative actions they could have done, plan and prepare for the next time, and then reintegrate or enter them back into their situation with their peers. And that, of course, is done once they have calmed down or back at their baseline. Okay, chapter 19, the role of incentives. He talks about short-term incentive plans, reward improvement, picking something a kid has an 80% chance to accomplish is like the idea of what a goal can be. Rate and celebrate serious behavior more frequently. As behavior improves, decrease the frequency of rating and celebrating. Use the best possible incentives. So let the kids pick the celebration, relational time together, then physical items is sort of the hierarchy or the from best to worst. Gradually raise expectations in response to improve behavior. Keep the plans simple and easy to administer. Follow through and make plans, time-constrained plans, always. Discuss why children did or did not earn their designated incentives. So it's also important to talk about why they didn't get it when they don't. Award incentives as soon after assessment meetings as possible. Be flexible. Create an easy-to-read, kid-friendly, inspirational behavior charts, cool like stickers and colors. Reward behaviors contingently. So if they earn something and they seriously misbehave, it will be postponed. Be honest. Use discretion in settings when other kids are not on incentive plans in the same milieu. And the idea is a plan versus a contract. A plan is we are on the same side, and a contract is more kid versus adult. It can't. Plans can be modified, contracts can't. Overall, this is a phenomenal book if you are interested in working with children with behavioral and emotional difficulties. It took forever to read, like 4 months to read, 460 pages, a ton of information in here. I wonder if he could have trimmed it down a little bit or made actually a couple different books. Either way, highly recommended. Thank you for watching.